licence renewal.
My name is Bruce, I'm the Operations Manager of Football Queensland, and it's my job to welcome you to the 2012 Football Queensland State Coaching Conference. Another element in the ambitions of Football Federation Australia and Football Queensland to deliver our common objective, which is better coaches, better football. I'm sure Kelly is going to touch on that fairly shortly. But Football Queensland are committed to this ideal, and we're pleased to provide community and advanced coaching education programs across the state. Numbers attending at all these programs are high, and shows that those efforts are appreciated. So we thank everyone for working on those. Obviously there's more work going on, modifying the courses and making the courses more appropriate, accessible and cost effective over the coming years. The speakers you'll hear this weekend and the instructors, really highly qualified. We thank Kelly, Cross, Rob Sherman, Bo Hanson, Dean Simpkins and David Ballard for their input in advance. We'll expand on their various credentials as they come up to speak. So without any more ado, I'd like to hand over to Kelly Cross, the Head of Coach Education, to begin the proceedings. Please enjoy.
I'll tell you now, from the bottom of my heart, the best thing that's happened to Australian football in my 20 years is Simon Burley coming to work for us. It made a big difference. And hopefully slowly and more effectively those messages and that value gets out to everyone into the game. In terms of target audience, it's a very disparate group of people, as you know. Different coaching levels, different coaching aspirations. Different levels of accreditation, different qualification, coaching this age, coaching that age. And maybe people in the room who are still questioning whether they should get on this bus that FFA is driving. Still questioning whether this curriculum is the way to go. I'm assuming, with a group of people here, by virtue of you being here, you want to be part of it. You want to find out more. You want to be on the bus that's going in a certain direction, and that direction is to try and make Australia better. And perhaps more specifically, if you look at the curriculum, we've got a very lofty ambition. They are big words. But I really hope that we don't take this as a throwaway line and a cliche. I really hope there aren't people in the room who say, you're kidding yourselves. Why bother? That's not the mindset. It's not the mindset of those people who are trying to make it happen, and many of you are in the room now. A lofty ambition, but we're going for it. We do have limited resources. We do have limited full-time people. It's not the #1 sport in the country. The countries we compete against have real established football cultures, infrastructure, facilities, players, coaches, etc., etc. That's what we're up against. So it's a lofty ambition. But I think we as Australians don't mind a challenge. We don't mind pushing ourselves. And with everyone on the same page, everyone on the same bus, things are doable. This is the challenge for a country and for you as individual coaches. How are you going to do it? What's your team's policy? What's your philosophy on football? We as a nation have tried to say, well, let's have a national philosophy, and that could be a great starting point. How do we get that to happen? Based on analysis. 4 main lines. Round it goes, round it goes. You should be able to, or observing football. Which main line is the problem? They have the ball, the more time they have, the less time they have to score, etc., etc. So some philosophical points in that. Yeah, fash the bash. Down. Puts them under pressure, just get it down the other end. Frequent use of long aerial passes. Factor of Barcelona's game or not? Factor of Spain's game, you can see the differences. You know, that makes sense too. And that makes sense. more of a physical thing, winning mentality, physical strength. And you could say, let's be honest, you could say that it tended to be the traditional Australian way. Because you can see links there, but there's things that Australia are good at. We're going for it, we're getting down there, we're putting them under pressure, we're physical, we're strong, we keep it going and we're determined, and it gets you a certain way. Or temporarily to a certain level like Norway, but then it's not successful anymore, or it might depend on certain players and the way it goes. That's sometimes easy to say the words, but then bring it to life. That's what I believe in, and here's how we do it. Here's how I make that happen. It makes sense to yourself. We've done that, and how football should be played and how it should be coached, the two being linked and an overarching philosophy. It's a compass. So therefore, in my role, if I'm writing a coaching course, I'm not looking around, what do other people do? What can I borrow from somewhere? I've got the compass. Right, that's where we're going. Therefore, the courses are logically evolve from a philosophy. Gives you a direction. Doesn't mean it's an easy job, so it gives you more direction. That's the vision, that's the theory. Got to bring it to life. / Northern New South Wales. That's what they are. Now the clubs feed into that. There's a gap here, we're thinking A-League under 18, that's another day's work. A National Youth League, that's where the best of the best go. The left column, the green one for the guys on the right hand side of the auditorium, is the elite. So from that, from a certain structure of the competition for a selection process in place, then you go into the full elite national program. The AIS and the Joes. And the AIS now focuses on you've got football knowledge. And obviously that's constantly expanding. Learning more and more about the game. That foundation should be stronger and stronger. And then you never finish developing that part. But here's a bit that makes a difference, and we touched on it at the start. It's overarching philosophy at the top. So I'll visualise the picture for you. At the base of the model, football knowledge is constantly expanding. Barcelona do this, Libya do that, Czech Republic do this, Arsenal do this, Milan will do that, Borussia Dortmund, all these diverse ways of playing football. But your knowledge is out here. But you can't operate like that. We can't do all those things. So you have to say, based on my football knowledge and study and analysis, I'm going to go here. That's what I am. From all this possible football, this is me. I believe in this, and that's the way I'm going to play. That will influence how I train, what I do on match day, and how I manage. Football's this big, vision, philosophy is your direction. We as a country want to get there, and there's as many people as possible are on the bus going in the same direction. So I hope, over the course of 2 days, over the course of this process that's been going on for years, most, if not all of you say, we're all together, we're going that direction. Otherwise, the mission, world in the world game.
On behalf of all of us, Kelly, there's a couple of drinks to share with some people tonight back at the hotel. Thanks very much for that. And share. It's all about teamwork, Kelly. And a conference shirt. So you can put your hands together again for Kelly Cross. Both worked within sport and business sector for 14 years. He delivers leadership, management and coaching training. He's had a 15-year competitive rowing career, went to 4 Olympic Games and 3 Olympic medals. He's worked for many years with coaches, various sports and countries. And within FFA, he's worked in the high performance coach program, in the USA college team and state associations. He's here today to speak on the role of players, parents and coaches in sport, a very topical role for all of us involved in the sport. Can you please make welcome Bo Hanson.
Perfect, thank you. I thought we'd do a quick warm-up activity, given I saw you guys eating all those muffins outside. It's good coaching food, isn't it? Alright, so anyone ever rowed before? A couple of people. It's a little unusual to have a football audience which has rowed before. Anyway, here's a quick warm-up activity. One of the things I really enjoyed about Kelly's presentation was the fact that we have to be on the same page. Agreed? It's as though there's a bus outside and we're going to be on it together, and if we're not on it, we're going to miss it. And the future of your sport, our sport, in many ways the future of sport in Australia is dependent upon us as coaches all being on the same page. So here's a quick activity. One of the most important things about rowing is to perfectly coordinate your effort. And so, you know, the split second that a blade goes into the water and comes out of the water is essentially going to define how quickly or slowly your boat is going to travel through the water. Alright, so here's a quick activity. Just make sure you can all stand up, not on your seats, but in front of your seats. You've got enough space to do that. You guys might want to get down to the next level. Alright, here we go, you can all do that. Very good. You passed the first part of the test. That's not the hardest part, mind you. You all did that at different times. So one of the challenges, okay, take a seat again, please. Okay, as I said, one of the challenges is all being on the same page at exactly the same time. Everyone getting in exactly the same direction. And everyone's ready to go. The next thing that happens is it's like a drag race. It goes from orange to green and a light flashes. But I'm just going to say, are you ready, row? Now when I ask you if you're ready to row, you don't answer that question. Back above your head. We'll see if you're as coordinated with some of the NRL coaches we have on our programs. In terms of how many times does it take you to absolutely be on the same page together? Does everyone understand that? Are you ready? Okay, attention. Are you ready? Row. Alright, so what would you give yourselves out of 10 for that? The standards that they're willing to accept. I'll give you a 7. Alright, let's see if you can do a little bit better. Attention. Are you ready? Row. That's good. Okay, I'll give you that. That's almost a 9.5. It's pretty much 0. You know, whether you're talking about game plans, whether you're talking about how you want to conduct yourself as a coach, and of course the bigger picture that we're talking about today in terms of Kelly's presentation, the style that your teams are going to play, and how that's going to look in the future. Because if you don't think that there is a crisis going on in Australian sport at the moment, I mean, what do you think? Look, I'm a pretty optimistic person, I must admit. Yeah, I'm not the most optimistic, but you know, I'm a bit of a realist as well. But who agrees with me? Is there an issue in Australian sport? Full stop. Australian sport, not just football, but Australian sport. What do you think? Okay, and a lot of those issues were highlighted by the Olympics that we just witnessed. Whether it's athlete behaviour, whether it's some of the most basic things. We got an email the other day from someone very high up in Australian sport. We work with more than 23 different sports, not just here, but overseas as well, in America and in the UK and in New Zealand, a lot of different places. We have a unique opportunity to see what a lot of other people are doing. And because we spend so much time looking at all these different programs, it becomes really apparent that when a team is successful, whether it's in rowing or football or in the NRL or in rugby union or in water polo or shooting, the list goes on. When people are successful, there are always common threads. Now, there's a study which I'm going to show you a little bit later on, which came out in 2008 and spoke about the key factors to being successful at the Olympic Games. It was an Olympic sport. Came out in 2008 and we got an email from, as I said, someone very high up in Australian sport who had never ever seen that study. And they're basically giving us the ingredients for how to be successful. And we were just absolutely staggered. But, well, what's the issue? They haven't seen this before. So what are you spending your time doing? You know, we have a massive role to play as coaches. All of the answers that you need, they're all out there. I'm going to show you some statistics and some studies that I've just pulled off the net and found out myself about different things. The answers that we need to create whatever success we want, they're available. So in terms of this, you know, a big part of being on the same page is obviously understanding that within each of these different groups here, whether it's the support staff, administrators, you know, coaches, players, parents. You know, what are the goals that each of these respective people have? Now, what are some of the goals that your parents have for their young athletes and players? What have you noticed?
Volunteers.
Okay, some of them have some really great goals in terms of wanting to volunteer, to help, and for what purpose? Why do they want to volunteer? To help their own kid? Benefit of the sport? Okay, to make it an enjoyable atmosphere so that the kids can have a great time. So all I'm getting at here is that once again, what have we got to have? We've got to have an in common goal, haven't we? Okay? If everyone is thinking about, well, how can we make a great, fun environment for the kids? Now, the reality is at the micro level, that is at our level of coaching, a big part of this is us, because the environment that we create, you know, in the context of a leadership atmosphere that you may create in the workplace, 70% of the atmosphere is created by the leader. And so whether your kids enjoy their sport or not, it's largely coming down to the impact that you have. Which is a really good thing, because that means what? It means that who's in control? You guys are. By the same token, if they stop turning up, okay, if they stop turning up,